Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I want to talk about how I feel I've changed ever since moving here to Finland. If you didn't know, and I'm sure you do, but I'll just let you in on it quickly. I'm originally from South Africa and I've been living in Finland now for, I think it's almost 5 years, which is crazy. Today, I was just sitting back and thinking about my experiences here and how I feel I have changed. And there are certain changes that have happened to me that, a couple of years ago, I would never have guessed that my mind would be that way. So, if you've never moved to a different country or a different city, then it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to understand, but I'll try and make it easy for you to understand. When you live in a place, whether it's a city, a country, your identity, part of who you believe you are, is directly correlated with your environment. In psychology, they have the nurture versus nature. But I have seen that your environment plays a very important role in how you view yourself. Something as simple as knowing if you walk down that street and turn left, you'll get to that little store you go to all the time. All these sort of things kind of ground you. And then on top of that, you've got the culture that you live in. Growing up in South Africa, the culture I grew up in was very outgoing. My experience here, like especially the first couple of weeks to months that I was here, I was a bit disorientated by how different things were. When you leave a country and you move somewhere else, it feels as though you are losing a part of yourself. It feels as though you have to mourn a part of yourself, as though a part of you died, simply because you're so connected to the area or to the people and the culture that you were a part of. I was very disorientated for a while. I think it took a few years, to be honest. And some people do get stuck in that phase of not knowing who they are anymore because you feel like you're being deconstructed and then you have to build yourself up again. So that was me. When I came here, I realized that there were certain cultural things that I was used to that couldn't really happen here anymore, or it wasn't normal anymore. So I had to let go of those things. One of my first experiences was when I first arrived, I would take buses, right? And in the beginning, I thought it was quite normal to sit next to people and have conversations with them. And I do remember experiencing a little bit of resistance. Like I was sitting next to someone and I'm like, hey, how are you doing today? And you can see they are flabbergasted, like, why is this guy talking to me right now? The reason why I know I have changed is because I had to deconstruct myself. It's a very painful process to let go of the things that you think are completely normal and to have to start getting used to a different way of living. The first apartment building I moved into when I came here was very weird to me because I knew there were neighbors, but I never saw them. And I was so confused about it because I was beginning to worry or wondering if I was living in the apartment building on my own. The only reason why I knew I didn't is because that I could sometimes hear some of the neighbors' TV or things like that. It felt as though everyone was trying their hardest to basically not bump into one another. And this was strange for me because in South Africa, neighbors, you'll go have drinks with your neighbors, or if you run out of sugar or coffee, you can just go next door and ask for some, and you know that the favor can be returned. Being in this place where there was no connection with any of the neighbors. In fact, I didn't even know what they looked like, to be honest. For a while, I thought it was freaking weird. So now I live in a completely different apartment building on my own, right? Well, in the flat on my own, but I live in a building where I've got neighbors. And I was in a rush and I was getting dressed and I was just about to leave. I had my hand on the door handle and then I heard a neighbor in the corridor. And do you know what I did? Instead of just being like, no, it's fine, I'm in a rush, I need to go, I actually stayed in the house and waited. I waited for the sound of my neighbor walking away before I got out the door and took the elevator down. Like, what is that? What is happening to me right now? I never used to be like this. you know? And that's not the only place where I see this sort of stuff. It feels like my concept of social interaction has changed a little bit. So now, whenever I talk about some of this stuff, I usually get, because I post a lot on like Instagram and TikTok, like short little videos, and you can follow me on there if you want. I'll leave it in the description. And sometimes I get comments from people around the world being like, oh my word, that is so sad that you don't want to interact with people. It's not that I don't want to interact with people. Okay, it is that I don't want to interact with people. But it's different. It's not that I can't. Like if I get put in a situation where I do have to rush and my neighbor's there, or I have to share an elevator with someone in my apartment building, I'm not like dying on the floor and like, oh my word, I don't want to be here. No, but I can feel that a part of me inside really, really, really doesn't want to. If you're enjoying this video, can you do me a favor and give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already? Other places I've seen this sort of change is when it comes to taking transport as well. Before, I always used to think it was kind of funny how when I get in a bus, it seems as though everyone is trying to sit as far away from one another without like sitting on the roof of the bus. As soon as someone walks in, you look in their eyes and you can see this desire, this hope to find a seat on their own. And you can sense it. And I used to think that was really funny. I'd be sitting in the back of the bus kind of smirking like, oh my word, these people are really weird. Fast forward a few years and now I'm that guy. I'm that guy. When I walk into the bus, I quickly scan to make sure that there's an empty seat. And when there isn't, I feel my heart sink. Like I genuinely feel myself go, damn it. What the hell? So I don't know what is in the water here, but it's slowly starting to affect me. I'm still pretty extroverted. That's who I am. I have noticed something a little weird when it comes to seasons and weather and stuff. There's a little part of me, a tiny part. Can I even say this? I feel like I am betraying everything that I am for saying this. There's a little part of me that kind of enjoys winter. How could I admit that? I kind of do like the fact that, you know, it's cold outside, there's snow, and I can be in my house and just be nice and warm. Or if I go out into the snow and I hear the nice crunch of the soft, dry snow, the cold, fresh air. Oh my word, what am I even talking about right now? Look at me, guys. What is going on here? My betrayal goes even deeper than that. Just before the pandemic, I went to South Africa to visit my family because I hadn't seen them for a while. I was dreaming about visiting Cape Town again. I really wanted to. I missed everything about it. I missed the sun. I missed the people. The time came and I jumped on an airplane. I touched down in Cape Town. The moment I got out of the plane, I gotta tell you, I wanted to come back immediately. I don't know why. I tried my hardest to push that feeling down, but I felt like people were too much in my face. I felt like too many people wanted to talk to me. Too many people wanted to sell me things. I think my brain was just freaking out about it because it wasn't used to that anymore. I spent a good amount of time in Cape Town, like a month or so, and it was fun. But when I was there, I could feel the growing desire to want to fly back. Something that happened to me while I was there was that I found myself almost replying to people in Finnish. So at the moment, I still cannot speak Finnish fluently, but I can greet people. When people came and spoke to me, not just in English, but in some of the local South African languages, when someone would speak to me, I would instinctively go, moi, or kiitos. How do I feel like a bloody tourist in my own country? Finally, the day came for me to fly back we were in Finnish airspace. And I knew this because everything was gray and dark. And we touched down and the weather was horrible. It was just cloudy, rainy, like really gloomy. But I felt so happy. I was like, it's cold, it's dark, but it's my darkness. It's my coldness. It's awesome. So sometimes when I find myself reminiscing and thinking about all these things, I can barely recognize myself. And it's quite interesting how being in a different place affects you so profoundly. We are so changeable. In South Africa, most of the time, I took the sun for granted. But I can't tell you how many times here I'll just be sitting on my couch and the sun would break through the clouds a little bit and will land on my face. I would soak that up and enjoy every second of it as though I'm a thirsty man finally getting a little bit of water. Hopefully for my next YouTube video, I'm going to be speaking to other immigrants and ask them questions about what it's been like for them. And I'm pretty sure you guys will enjoy it. Anyway, have a fantastic day, evening, or whenever you watch this. You guys are awesome. Ciao.